Tuning in from last week's episode, we visit a Indonesian weaving village. We work on Roy's bike a bit, replacing his coil. Take a ferry from Kupang to Larantuka on East Nusa Tengara. We land on East Nusa Tengara, where we see the 3 blue lakes, and I attempt to fly my drone, and then work on Troy's bike a bit more. Then I have a bit of a small off, and then deal with the carnage of hitting a cow. So Roy and I went through the northern border of Timor into Indonesia. So we crossed over the Indonesian border yesterday. Now we're heading to Kupang, where we rode half an hour to an Indonesian village.
We have a sample to show you. Like my mother also someday you can like. We see it's beautiful design. Yeah. Then like this. Yeah. This is a king. King's motif. Yeah.
All through Timor and Indonesia, we kept seeing locals chewing on this red tobacco leaf stuff. And when I saw some of the village people with it, I asked if I could try a bit, where they graciously gave me some. It was made up of 2 types of leafy something, and then it was mixed with what I ended up finding out to be limestone. So when you chew it enough, it's supposed to give you a bit of a tobacco buzz, but we didn't keep it in our mouths long enough. Roy definitely didn't like the taste of it. It tastes really earthy, and it's kind of hard to describe, but worth a try, but I don't think I'll be sticking to this.
No, trust me, I do.
From the village, we headed 5 hours to the end of East Nusa Tengara in Kupang, where we were going to catch the next ferry. Just arrived at the hotel. Bit swanky. I think it's like $30.
Huh?
Bit fancy.
25 bucks. $12.50 a piece.
US, of course. Woohoo!
Me often I come in that corner town.
Acapulco. So just leaving the hotel now. Heading for the ferry to Larantuka. So booked the ticket for the ferry to Larantuka. Roy's had a bit of an issue with his bike the last few days, and the guys on the internet said it might be the coil. He happens to have a spare one. So in the 4 hours that before the ferry, we're gonna take his bike apart. We're not at the right dock now, we're at a different one. And we're gonna try to strip it apart, put the new coil on, and see if it works.
Tone, you know why I didn't know it was a coil?
Because you didn't know you had one.
No, because I got it in Germany, Tone. And they would have called it something else, like Spreckency coil.
Exactly. See how we go. So the next 2 or 3 hours before the ferry, we worked on Roy's bike, tore it apart, replaced the coil with a spare one that he had laying around, hoping that it would fix his intermittent starting issues. Roy's not too great on the tools, so I ended up taking charge of most of the project. But we got the coil installed, but unfortunately the bike kept stopping after it would run for a little while.
So we're on board the ferry to Tucker. I've got Daisy, the only strap they had, she's tied down in one way. I'm going to stay down here for a little bit, make sure she doesn't fall over. So she's a little bit wobbly, but better than Roy, he got nothing. We in the right boat? Do we want to change?
What floor's the casino?
There's a barber shop down there.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Chop chop. You look handsome.
Me too. 50,000. I think we can talk him down. $5, yeah. So somehow I've managed to make it to the top deck where no one is. I think this is like only the captains and stuff are in there. And looks like I'm getting a coffee. There's a nice guy that invited me up when I was walking downstairs. This is cool. VIP.
I ended up making friends with some of the junior training captains, finding out that they spend 7 years living aboard the boat, learning everything about it. Then they invited me into the captain's quarters, where they were absolutely blaring music. Hello.
It's 2:15. We just arrived. I don't know what the plan from here is, but we'll see. So boat got in at 2 o'clock this morning. It's pitch black, so we grabbed a coffee at a little cafe and stuck around till it's now 5:30. I'm glad we did because we got to catch that. And now we're going to ride to Kelimutu mountain, which is about 5.5, 6 hours away. Probably try to hike up that tonight and catch the sunset. Let's see how we go.
There was some absolutely beautiful scenery riding through East Nusa. We went from curvy roads and coastal roads through to wide open rice fields. Just really nice riding. And the weather kept pretty good for us most of the time. Mount Kelimutu is home to 3 lakes. So in 2006, the lakes were actually red, blue and white, but now they are black, blue and light green. The locals believe that the light green lake is a place where the spirits of young men and women gather, and the black lake is where evil spirits gather. But the changing colours of the lakes still baffle scientists to this day. You have to excuse my crappy drone flying efforts. The fog, I think, was messing with the sensors, and the drone kept wanting to land. So due to the crappy weather, we didn't end up getting a sunset, so we just headed down to the nearest town of Ende.
It's a different category now.
So just on our way to Laman Baju, just passed through Ende, and looks like Roy might have snapped a clutch cable. So I'm just going to try to figure that out. What's it doing?
Here. Shit, maybe I don't have one. Maybe they.
So Roy did have a clutch cable that we tried to thread into the old housing, but it had kinked so badly that we couldn't use the shroud that was on it. So I headed half an hour back into Ende to try to get a replacement for him.
Just an hour and a half round trip back to Ende to get a clutch cable. I think the new one was $9.50, custom cut to the length you want. Now we're just fitting it to the bike. So, got the new cable installed, ready to go. A failed attempt at installing the clutch cable has now taken us back to Ende in Kawasaki, where I pray that they will fucking install this thing. So we are currently in Ende. Yesterday we tried leaving from Mount Kelimutu. Didn't make it very far because Roy's bike, his clutch cable snapped. We ended up having to come back into town, towed him for a little bit, but then he just decided to ride the bike in a gear with no clutch, which actually worked out alright. Now today's plan is to go to Laman Baju, which is on the west side of East Nusa Tengara. It's about an 8-hour ride. Got woken up by thunder and lightning this morning at kind of 3 o'clock. Haven't been outside yet. I imagine it's pretty wet and miserable, but that's all right. We'll see how we go. But first, breakfast. You for breakfast? just stopped in Amiri, heading from Ende. We're about halfway to Laman Baju. Oh my god, the roads here are insane. I think it was like 1,000 turns we've been through. It's exhausting. I never thought I'd want a straight road in my life. But yeah, we're about halfway to Laman Baju.
So off the beaten track a bit, the roads ended up getting pretty bad. We decided to take a bit of an alternative route to try to see a waterfall, which unfortunately the roads turned very bad, and then this happened. So Roy helped me get the bike up, no damage to it, just a slow fall over the rocks.
So in Laman Baju, arrived kind of late last night, ended up riding into the night time. Today the idea is to go from Laman Baju, catch a ferry to Sape, which is West Nusa Tengara. Supposedly they run every day at 10 o'clock. So gonna get down there, have some breakfast, see if we can't get a ticket. We are in Bima right now, got into Sape on West Nusa Tengara yesterday, about 6 p.m. Rode an hour to get here, decent hotel. Now we're heading all the way to the other side of West Nusa to Lamoin Mappen. It's about 6.5 hour ride. Don't really have a whole lot planned for this island, but we'll see if we stop anywhere that looks interesting. So the bad side of traveling in a fucking cow country, I've just fucking hit one.
So Roy and I were cruising around about 90 k's an hour. I came around the corner to 4 cows all across the road and ended up smashing into one of them. I originally tried to start the bike with the broken key, but it was turning on but not giving me any signs of life beside the dash lighting up. So I took my time to take all the parts off the bike and put them in the pannier bag so they wouldn't get waterlogged. The extent of the damage to the bike was the headlight was broken off, the dash was smashed, and most of the front components were broken, like the fairing stack.
So, organised with the locals to take me to the port that can take me to Lombok. This is my humble ride. Thank you, my friend, for helping me organise.
So as far as I fared from the accident, I had a bit of a smack on my head, but no headache or concussion that I could tell, and just a tiny graze on my arm through my jacket. So on the next episode, I finish my 10-hour ride to the other side of the island, where Daisy starts up after a bit of tweaking. Then we catch the ferry to Lombok, where finally we find a beach to do a bit of relaxing. Then I head to a motorcycle shop in Bali to give Daisy a bit of a facelift. Join me for the next episode.